What is up YouTube, and welcome back to another Etheria restart video for you guys. And today we're going to be talking all about Viper, the blue SR character who is in my opinion one of the strongest SR characters in the game, not only for PvE but also for PvP. Today we're going to focus more on a PvE centric build, but I'll also be talking about how you guys can utilize him in PvP as well, which will make him a menace, especially if you like to play turn 2 compositions. So Viper is a very powerful character. He has this S3, which is an AoE attack, and the best part about it is that it dispels 2 buffs and will also apply attack down and speed down. This makes him very good for content like Aurora and stuff like that, because you can actually get rid of the immunity on the boss, which will allow your team to start debuffing it, and also apply attack down and speed down. Now attack down and speed down combined is super broken because both of these debuffs are very defensive debuffs, right? You're reducing the amount of damage bosses do or monsters do to you, and you also make them take less turns, which allows you to lap the enemies very quickly. Because of this ability is super OP. It's also on a 3-turn cooldown, which is insane, and you're going to be pretty much permanently applying this over and over, because if you apply the speed down and the attack down, you'll be lapping the enemies over and over, and you'll get this off cooldown before the 2-turn duration usually ends, which makes this a very powerful ability. He also has this passive, which is extremely powerful. It's very good for PvE and also for PvP. It just makes your team take less damage from crits by 30%, which is insane. Also, if an ally is attacked, he has a chance to counterattack with his S1, and if he gets crit, or if an ally gets crit rather, the chance will get increased to 60%. This can only trigger once per turn cycle to make it more balanced, right? If you could do this over and over, it'd be super broken. So you can only do this once per turn cycle. Next we have his S1 as a single target attack. This will also apply a silence, which is very nice, and you're going to see that there's a secondary effect where he has this Serpent skin. So Serpent skin will gain 1 stack when you use your S1, and also at the start of battle you get 2. Now when you get to 4 stacks, when your counter attack triggers from your passive, instead of it being your S1 attack, it turns into your S3. So you can kind of see that he's just going to be S3ing and applying this attack down and speed down over and over, which makes him invaluable for not just PvE content where you need a lot of survivability, but also in PvP when you're trying to survive against those cleavers. Because of this, Viper is pretty much invaluable to any account. He is very powerful. For PvE content, all you need him is at level 5 S3 just for the skill cooldown. For PvP, you will want to max his S2 and eventually his S1 for the speed nodes. But for PvE content, if you're just looking to use him as a low investment budget character, then just keep him at S3 level 5 and you should be good to go. Extremely powerful in areas of content such as Aurora. He's pretty much required in Aurora if you want to do it with low gear requirements. Very good in Nico Nana. Also very good in something like Shadow Flame Hoyen. If you're running a dot comp, he can be used there. You can also use him in Inferno Rengokutsu. He's part of my 90% win rate Inferno Rengo team, and he's a part of a lot of auto teams there as well. He's also extremely good anywhere you need to dispel. So if you're doing like Anasync Echoes, Ember Trek, and you need to dispel buffs, then this is like the best character for the job. One of the best characters because he can do AoE dispel while applying speed down and attack down. So just a very powerful character. I highly recommend building him because he will make your Aurora runs way more stable, and he will also be extremely good in PvP for you later on. You can see that I pretty much have mine maxed out because I use him all the time in PvE and pretty much all the time in PvP as well. Now in terms of building him, it is pretty simple. The only thing that is absolutely required on him for PvE is going to be Swift Rush. You only need to put him on 12 Swift Rush to make him work. And then after that, the second most important thing is to make sure he's on Effect Resist to Pieces. I have only 2, but you can go for 3. The only reason why I have 2 is because I have Time Weave on, but going for 3 to reach about like 200% is going to be pretty good to make sure that he actually lands his Dispel, and he actually lands his speed and attack down. In terms of secondary matrix, you can see for PvE I have him on Time Weave, which is going to be very good for him for Aurora. If you're running him in Rengokutsu, where you're running a stall team, you can run him on Bloodbath, which is very good. And then also for PvP, usually you're going to want to run him on a Bloodbath sort of build, because turn 2 right now, especially in PvP, you're going to get one shot on the opener if you're not on Bloodbath. So you want to run him on Bloodbath for PvP. But for PvE content, which is probably what 90% of you guys are more interested in, just run him on a Swift Rush set with effect accuracy pieces and you will be good to go. You're basically just aiming for as much effect accuracy and speed as possible, and as much bulk is a bonus that you can add to him. But you have to keep in mind that he's innately very tanky because one, you're going to run him on the Artisan Shell, which we'll talk about in a second, but also because he's permanently applying attack down, which just makes him and his team just immensely more tanky, which probably means you don't really need as much tankiness on not just him, but your entire team. Now, in terms of his shell, there's a lot of good options. I think the best one for PvE content will be Artisan, just because you really need him on Swift Rush, and Swift Rush is going to be one of the options for Artisan, but also the biggest thing is that you get this shield. So this shield scales with your own defense, and it also applies not only to Viper and the holder, whoever's holding this shell, but will also apply to other allies with the lowest HP percentage. This shell is super broken just in PvE content in general. You'll see a lot of people stacking it. So because of that, you definitely want to make sure you run him on Artisan. Other good options, Gigabyte if you want to cut faster. You can also run him on something like a Jackal Guard if you don't have a speed buffer, so he takes more turns. But I think the best one by far is going to be Artisan for him. Pretty much 99% of PvE builds will have him on Artisan because one, you want to shield your team, but also because of the fact that you're running him mostly on effect accuracy pieces, you are going to want to run him on Artisan so he gets a little bit more tankier and is at less risk of dying. So this character definitely is a must-have in my opinion. If you actually go look at Aurora, which is going to be the hardest of the 3 thresholds, you're going to see him in pretty much every single team comp that's going to be running him in recent clear. So you'll see Viper here, 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 Viper here. So you can kind of see he's pretty much required for Aurora, so you will build him anyways. But I just want to let you know, he's very, very powerful. Even outside of Aurora, you can use him in a lot of areas of content. And trust me, once you start playing PvP, if you decide to not speed chase and play for turn 1, which is probably not the best option unless you are a day 1 player and have a lot of speed gear or get lucky, then this character becomes a must build anyways for PvP content because you need him to tank down, mostly because of his S2 passive, which makes you take less damage from crits, which turn 1 players will be doing most of the time. So basically this character is a must build on every account. Definitely recommend him, even if you aren't a fan of how he looks, because he's not a waifu, which I think a lot of people are turned off by. I still recommend building him. Just close your eyes and build him because he is insane for PvE progression and will also be very good in your PvP adventures. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below what character you want to see next for SR characters in terms of how you need to build them. There's a lot of good SR characters in this game, which makes this game super fun. I think a lot of other games have only SSRs or the 5-star top rarity characters be usable, especially in late game. But the fact that we have so many good SR characters and lower rarity characters makes the game a lot more strategic to me, which is very, very, very good. And the fact that they don't even share the same skill up materials just makes it a lot more easier to build them, which is why I actually enjoy using a lot of these SRs. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below which ones you want to see next, and I'll post some videos in the future with builds on them pretty soon. Peace.